Good morning. How y'all feeling out there? I'm Omi Bell. You listen to the you're watching, and you listen to the 30 Day Show. I'm Omi Bell. I am here with my co-host Cameron Calvin. You can't see him yet, but he'll be here in a minute. How y'all feeling out there? And that's always my first question today is always how y'all feeling. One of the reasons why I do that too, why I do that, why I have to stop and ask Cam how he's feeling, because if not, I'll just keep on talking. Because I used to be, well, so I have a Sirius XM show that airs on Sundays, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, channel 126, Urban View. And then I used to host a morning show. And so the thing is, like, you can't have dead air on a morning show. Like, you can't have like a block of time where you're quiet, because then there's always they're always listening for all the lines to make sure that all the lines are running. So if you pause and it's quiet, then they go, something must be wrong with the line, and they'll get panicky. I remember one time somebody had passed away. I cannot remember at this point, but we did a moment of silence. And then we did a moment of silence, and they were calling like, "Wait a minute, what happened to the line? Did the show go off air?" But it did not. We did a moment of silence. Now, because I'm conditioned to do that, I tend to do that because I realize, like, even if you're watching me on a replay or you watching stream, that like it's the same. It's not the feeling of like it's something wrong with the line, but it also is pacing around keeping and holding people's attention. So I launched a 30-day show now 20 days ago. Today is day 20. Every morning, been going live for 90 minutes a morning. We've had several guests, amazing guests, amazing businesses all across the country, and we have or amazing different kinds of efforts that people are working on. And it was a full experiment. I threw the link out there and said, whoever want to register, register. People registered, and basically all the days got booked up. And then more people wanted to register, and then all the days was booked up. Then some people didn't come, and then they blocked up time for people who did want to come. Our first guest though for today, she is here. I'm gonna bring up Cameron. I'm gonna bring her up. Couple things though before I do that, I want to tell y'all what I'm learning. So I said I would share with y'all. So overall, what we were doing is going live 90 minutes a morning. Like I said, guest wise, I sent the booking link out to people that I know, the Black Girl Ventures community, my email list, and my Only Homies text list. And then a bunch of people joined. And then, like, signed up. And so on the back end, I brought in I hired a content support person. And so what will happen is after the show is over, StreamYard automatically generates clips, and then she'll go in, and at one point, at first, for the first 10 days, we posted 7 to 10 clips a day. Brand new profile on Instagram, brand new profile on TikTok. Then for YouTube, we use my Omi Show YouTube. So if you want to look at any clips, you can go back to any of those. It's at 30 Day Show on Instagram, at 30 Day Show on TikTok, but on YouTube, it's at the Omi Show. And then the full live replay, it lives on LinkedIn, lives on my Facebook now, also lives on YouTube. You can go to the live section on my YouTube at the Omi Show and see it. So here's what we learned about the different platforms. One, I would say all the platforms are not necessarily ready for streaming in the same way. So streaming on LinkedIn does get me a lot of views, and I've been getting a lot of LinkedIn requests from interesting folks, and a lot of people like looking at the stream, which is interesting. But LinkedIn is not necessarily a streaming platform. However, the data that LinkedIn gives you, depending on kind of if you have a paid profile or not, you can see the kind of people who are watching the video that you put out. So I can see that they are C-suite and they have 11,000. They're at a company that has 11,000 plus employees, right? That lets me know from a brand perspective who I can consider going after. If the CMO, CIO, then it's letting me know, oh, these kinds of people at these kinds of companies may be favorable to the content that I'm putting out. So I think that from a partnership standpoint, LinkedIn is giving me the best data. From a understanding like where people fall off point, I would say between Instagram and YouTube, me observing like the video quality and like analytics around how soon, what are people watching, how soon they fall off on what clips. Now it's interesting when you clip from just streaming, because the whole time we're just talking. So the clips are not as intentional all the time with like where the AI may clip up what we're saying. So sometimes it's clipping up in places where like immediately I'm in the middle of talking, so it makes people a little bit more intrigued, which means they stay on for more seconds. They keep watching for more seconds than if they come in at a clip where we may be I don't know, we may be thinking of something or looking at something. So that's a matter of choosing better clips. And so that improved over time, I would say. But our content support person, she's dope. She's great at choosing the clips. I'm just noticing these things. What we also noticed is that the hiccups that we had. So if trying to post 7 to 10 clips at once, eventually Instagram said, "Hold up, are you a real person?" So this is also a lesson in like who's more secure, who's actually monitoring their platforms, who's actually looking for for bots, right? So or who can handle posting a lot at once. So Instagram was like, wait a minute, we need to verify your identity. So I had to do like an identity check. They paused the account for like 24 to 48 hours and they had to like verify that I was a real human. And then they opened it right back up. I will say it was fairly automated. I had to do like a video thing with my face. And then after that, they opened it back up and it was fine. But Instagram, I would say if you're thinking whether or not who's checking for bots, Instagram is definitely checking for bots. I would tell y'all that. With TikTok, we felt like almost like TikTok optimized for us because what would happen is like it would stop the clips from posting at once, but then it would around 3 o'clock. So like she'll go in between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That was the focus to post all the clips. But TikTok would be like, whoa, 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 whoa. But if we went in at 3 o'clock, it would post them. So I don't know we don't know why it was doing that. We don't know if like, was it optimizing for us to say, no, you should post at 3 o'clock? Like it didn't give us that kind of data. It just would not post them. And then we would be stuck trying to like go back and post them. But then for some reason, 3 o'clock was a key time. She would go back, boom, it would open up able to post them. Then we also were looking at, okay, interestingly enough, if I'm on a wide screen like this and it's just me, those clips do better. If it is a stat clip where like it's me and like Cam or me and another person on top of each other, those clips didn't do as well. We don't know if that is because of the content of the clip or the look of the clip, but we just saw even if it had similar content, if we were stacked, it didn't really like that. But if Instagram specifically, it didn't really like that. But if it was broad, it got more views. We're not exactly sure how to categorize why that might have happened. I don't know if Cameron might know. He's a digital director with the playbook. But so there's that. YouTube can consume whatever you bring it. Let me say that. YouTube's the OG. YouTube was getting it in. YouTube's like, give me all the content and we'll figure it out. Instagram's kind of like, we don't know where to put you. We don't know who you are yet. We don't know what's going on. And TikTok is like post by post. This post means this post means that, this post means that. So it would be that's what we noticed about the difference between the platforms. Last thing I was gonna say before I bring up Cameron was I'm not so sure it's about the followers. So if I because I'm not so sure it's about followers anymore. I think for brand deals, people want to see followers because they don't always ask people for their back end metrics. So maybe from a brand deal perspective, they like how many followers you got. But for real, from an analytics perspective, we only got like 30 followers on a 30-day show, and we still hitting at least on some of these clips like 600 views plus, right? So like, it's telling me that like you can get attention without it being about the followers. I think that like maybe having followers may build trust, but I honestly don't know if people are, and again, I'm bringing up Cameron on this one. I don't know if people are looking at people's full profiles anymore. They're just looking at content. So if your content is interesting, I'm finding that it gets reach. YouTube Shorts is the move. To be honest with you, I'm about to launch Body Business and Belonging. I'm going to talk to y'all more about this and what that means and over the next 10 days. And I honestly think I'm only going to focus on YouTube. Like, I'm just going to start out focusing on YouTube straight up. Like, I don't even think I'm going to focus on Instagram. If I do, maybe I'll focus on Instagram from my profile standpoint and just start mixing that up. But like, I don't even know. I feel like YouTube is the move. What was the thing I was going to tell y'all? I had it and I lost it again. Well, I'll bring up Cameron till I remember it. Coming to the stage, the digital director, your favorite's favorite.
Your favorite digital director.
Yeah.
No, your favorite leader's digital director.
There you go.
Can we go in on thank you for that. and I'm glad you. I know you talked to me a little bit about this, but I'm glad I just found out a lot of. Can you hear me clearly?
Yeah.
My mic is a little farther away. I'm trying to do a new setup. Um,
You sound fine.
let me talk to you a little bit about what each of those things mean. One, I don't know if you, for those, if you would go to Substack / Digital Director Playbook. I kicked it off on February 22nd. My first Substack deep dive. I also did this. This was my first themed newsletter under the playbook. It was called "It's Now Interest Media, Not Social Media," and
Yeah.
I drop a lot
I
of
saw a post from Gary Vee on that too.
Gary Vee's really been talking about that, but I went and did my own little data research. I'm not even gonna lie. I'll shout out. I love Gary Vee because he stands on a few different principles and stuff. And if you follow him, he's one of the maybe 7 to 10 people I watch, and then I have about 6 to 8 newsletters I look at, website newsletters I look at that make me focus and go look at certain data and certain trends, or have our team go back and make sure those things are applicable. But it's interest media. So to this overall thing, I knew it would work because one, and I'm definitely giving you all the credit, obviously running this, but your personal followings that you're pushing this out to, and the amount of platforms you're pushing it on, it is the content structure. It is the better we optimize for the actual metadata in each clip and each show, i.e. the title, the descriptions. It is able to, most of these have some AI that scans the transcript. So it is trying to find the audience in different ways. Each one has maybe a different algorithm to some extent, but essentially it is trying to find the audience because it knows so much about their viewers, so they know the content they're interested in. So in that Substack, in that newsletter, shameless plug, shout out to the Digital Directors Playbook. Sign up for the newsletter weekly, quick meet read. But the point I break down is that because of all of these, because this now new switch in social media, and they are essentially now advertising platforms, they're seeking deep engagement, and they're trying to, the way they can sell ads best is to understand who your customer is and understand who that is. So what we're talking about and what you are as a creator, and I think to a lesser extent what I am as a creator and a person on these platforms that is searching for not our followers, but what our niche is essentially, and servicing that specifically to the different platforms of why I think they're performing the way they're performing. I'll go backwards. On YouTube Shorts and TikTok and Instagram clips. Those three, not YouTube as a whole, YouTube Shorts specifically, TikTok and Instagram are what I call almost more instant news broadcast feed. Their discoverability, they're like, the whole term top of the funnel. Their goal is quick engagement. So they're constantly looking for things that'll catch people and allows you to be discovered. So you siphon people into followers or longer form content. That's their focus. So I think the YouTube Shorts, when I think YouTube has the best algorithm, in the sense that it is consistently, it actually has more data points. So one of the things that I think I said to you, and we want to continue to do, is like, even in these last 10 days, even if we're using AI, create AI SEO optimized descriptions and make sure they're in each clip that we have, whether it's on Instagram, TikTok, definitely on YouTube, LinkedIn. Put something in the description more than just like the top line, because it is now those algorithms, those platforms always scan those descriptions at first, especially the first 2 to 3 sentences, to try to understand what's in the content that they're showing so they can show it to an audience.
Yeah. So thank you for that. That's one thing that we're not doing. So a couple things we're not doing that could as Cameron just mentioned, could take it further, is we are just using the top line clip title that we get from the AI generation on StreamYard. We are not yet optimizing the captions or any of that. Now, if we were using Opus Clips gives you the title and the caption. I do feel like StreamYard for YouTube Shorts in particular gives great it strikes a great balance around like clickbait titles versus like a good like interesting title, but like it does a good job at that. But for Instagram and TikTok, I think we definitely needed to have more of the description for sure. YouTube, what interesting thing about YouTube Shorts is that it's driving subscribers. So like that's the difference. I don't know, and I don't know the answer to this. I want to bring her back, I guess, because she's been here for a minute. But like the Instagram interest and people seeing that is not driving followers. But the YouTube Shorts is driving subscribers. The I didn't look at the
Oh, I
actually
can tell you why.
I haven't
I
looked
can
at the
tell you why.
TikTok following, to be honest with you. So I don't even know if
Let me explain that real quick. So
while you doing that, I'm gonna look at his
sure.
TikTok real quick.
This is but that's also platform specific audience behavior. Instagram now is think about Instagram is a scroll culture. And because also Instagram is not usually, most Instagrams are a couple things, are not set up to show you the next, unless you are on someone's page, they're not set up to show you the next video from that same creator. They're just going to show you something similar. And something similar. So it doesn't necessarily show you, like they may see our first clip, but they're not going to see another and a second and a third clip. So like, oh, you know what? I just found 2-3 clips. So the audience, someone who does engage with it, and also I'm curious that the amount of watch time, how much of these clips are they watching? But if say they're only watching the first 10 to 20% of the clip, they're going to scroll on by, but that doesn't necessarily, an audience on Instagram does not necessarily go and click and find something else. On YouTube, as opposed to YouTube, offers a couple different ways for you to continue to follow the creator, i.e. the suggested next clip. So that is right there built into the app. So it can easily lead somebody to, in the audience who's on YouTube Shorts, is more trained to say, you know what, I want to see more from this specific thing. I'm going to look at the next clip. And quite frankly, I think they both make it easy to follow. They have a follow button there. I think the positioning in YouTube Shorts allows you to more easily subscribe to somebody than some of the others. On LinkedIn, the reason why I think, and I'm glad we did this experiment, because this is going to set up my digital director's playbook, the show that I'm launching in April. It made me recalibrate and really think like, oh, I'm actually going to prioritize this on LinkedIn, because the quality of my personal following, or my personal professional following on LinkedIn, and who my target audience is. My target audience is working professionals, executives, organizational leaders, and so forth. I need them to see me in that space. And even if they don't watch full time, they are able to, when you do go back to watch LinkedIn, you're trying to make business connections, make sales connections. You're trying to hire different people, or trying to hire firms and so forth, and learn there. I think the discoverability factor for that is high, but I'm going to prioritize LinkedIn, YouTube, and then to a lesser extent, Instagram and TikTok, because while I think I can get discovered on those places, the depth of the conversation I'm trying to have around digital engagement, around professional, like solving professional problems and things of that nature, is not meant for a short form, quick, I just want to talk about this. But I'm trying to build more authority in those places when people are either really trying to learn something, or trying to get problems solved, or ideally would love to hire me and our team at Hude around this. So I love the experiment, and shout out to you, Omi, on like, bro, I'm just going. We going. Like you were hyper clear on that. Like, I'm set it up. You said you put the memo together. This is how it's about to work. And like the train's taking off camera. You trying to jump on because you know when at
Right.
Amtrak when they're like you got doors closing in 2 minutes. I was like, okay, let me hurry up and get on. I'm not waiting because it ain't gonna be a train coming again for who don't know, maybe 3-4 months, and then by then you found somebody cooler.
Well, thank you for jumping on the train. You know, and I appreciate you. I'm bringing up Narissa because we can just keep talking all day. Because there's more on that too in terms of like starting things, and you know what I always say, the distance in between your decision making and your execution, that's your unique vantage point. So it's like, you think long, you think wrong. Plus, like, what did I have to lose?
Study wrong.
There you go. Good morning. Let me take Cam stuff off of there. Good morning.
Good morning, Omi. How are you?
I'm great. How are you? Welcome.
I'm incredible. So please, you could have talked for another. You could have, because all I'm doing right here is just taking notes. What I'm hearing from both you and Cameron is how to be an authority online.
That's it.
And so, I mean, my goal is to do less work, not more. So, I just wisdom was, so you could have hung out a little longer, chatting about it. But, I really want to thank you for the opportunity to share this platform with you.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about, so you wrote a book.
Hey.
Your book is called 31 Days of Yes.
Hey.
And
yes.
Hold up, that's you. Wait, sorry, real quick on me. I actually have heard about this book, like not before, like totally separate. Somebody sent me this, and I'm looking at your website right now. It's like it's all clicking. Like, so whatever you're doing to promote or whoever's putting in people's hands, somebody sent me the link to this book. Because they said they're focusing on like saying yes to things and not no. Wow, this is a little like less than a month ago.
Wow. So I did a lot of, to your point about authority. I used to be everywhere as far as doing a lot of public speaking, and did a TED Talk. Actually, I started my public speaking career with a TEDx talk back in 2010. And it was very, very interesting. It was a very wonderful time to be in public speaking. And that's what I'm calling it. But really, for me, it's a calling, transformational work, right? So moving people from where they feel they are to where they want to be, right? And so, and I think, Omi, as I've seen your work evolve with Black Girl Ventures, and first of all, I want to shout out Black Girl Ventures and your continued investment in women who are just doing uncommon, innovative work to move communities forward through business. So you're it. Right? So I just want to make sure if people didn't already know, and Cameron says you're her friend, you obviously are it too.
By association, so, you're now it.
By association, you're it too. So I really want to thank you, and I want to publicly thank you for your investment in my business. So so this is a delight for me in every way, shape, and form.
Thank you for saying yes. That's always my response. When people go, thank you so much. I'm like, well, you had to say yes. Thank you for trusting me. Thank you for, trusting the work that we do. I think that one of the things that's real important to us, especially in this climate, especially with all the things happening, is that we try to treat the trust of our audience with as much delicacy as possible. And so that's like top of mind for me and all the things we do. And it's the one thing that we have. So what I could do is be as transparent as possible, what I can do and can't do, what I have and don't have, who we with, who we ain't with. and and try to lead. So I thank you for saying yes. So tell us about 31 Days of Yes. And so what inspired you to write this book? So I hear you on like transformation, transformative
Mhm.
leadership, transformative talks, but tell me about you. Like you are, one day you wake up and say everybody should say yes for 30 days. Like what tell me what sparked you to write this book?
So a few things, but the biggest thing is um, me being in a chokehold. What you talked about just before our conversation together. You think long, you think wrong. The analysis paralysis
Mm.
in a chokehold when I was doing a lot of my transformational work. My classes, so I would do courses, would ceiling at 25 people. Just kept hitting that 25. I'd get to 25 people, and then all of a sudden, that would be it. Didn't matter how much I advertised. Didn't matter whatever was going on.
Mm.
There was something where I would just hit a ceiling with my work, and I realized that there was an internal barrier to getting a larger audience. And it had a lot to do with this critic, the critic that was developed out of years of people pleasing, and years of trying to kind of be safe in places and organizations that didn't quite value me. And so the outer oppression becomes the inner critic kind of thing, and so it really was a journal and a love letter to myself. Like just hearing all of the things about how do you change habits. It's you got to keep doing something for 21 days.
Mm.
And so I wanted to do something for a month. It originally came out, the content in it was originally inspired by a devotional that I had written for my church. And everybody loved this devotional. And I sat down and I just kind of had this spiritual download, and I wrote it over a weekend, right? And the writing again was me just trying to speak life to myself. And when I saw the intense response to this devotional, I decided, okay, well, this could be something that's larger than a devotional. So in the book, I talk about, and I think it's a lot where people are seeing the possibilities for changing and transforming, but they feel like they don't have any kind of, they don't have any power on their own. And so within the book, the first part of the book is something that I call the law of spiritual mathematics. And I went to the trouble of making sure that this was, the print on the inside was in color, because I just need things in color. And the law of spiritual mathematics is, if there's a bad event that happens and you add a bad response, you are making a negative event worse. And according to your response, if you really understand who and what you are, your response will either negate the event or amplify it. And so starting with that, the yes is you every day figuring out places that you are saying no to yourself or no to something, and turning that around to a yes. So some of the things I say
So
is,
let's talk about that for a second.
sure.
Is there steps in there to do something at that moment? Because I think like if when the thing happens, a natural reaction is to feel into whoever that thing is. But I guess I don't know if I'm hearing you say not to marinate in it, or if I also think like, what's the science and psychology, I think, behind like always having to upside something, like always having to bright side something. And in terms
Oh,
of, and so are you dismissing feelings, or are you like
not even
actually
slightly.
letting them flow through you, or are you, because I think there's, there's different commentary around this around the world about that. You know what I'm saying? In terms of like,
Oh,
should you let yourself
goodness.
feel things? Should you automatically try to bright side it? Should you go, yes, but the Lord, or like whatever, you know what I mean? I think there's all these different pieces around like the ability to feel. And I also would wonder like who's your audience? Because I also think that like we have as Black people always had to bright side something in order to make it through the day. And I don't know that we've had enough room to have our feelings and deal with them and figure out what healing looks like versus like trying to address the feeling in a moment.
So everything you say, I am absolutely that person about feel your feelings. And in fact, I'm wearing a shirt, recovering good girl, right? And so,
I love that because literally I had a client, we were having this conversation. I love that.
Tell me
so
more, because I'm trying to peek inside this mind of two dynamic women. The recovering good. Give me more.
yeah, so the recovering good girl. So one of the things so there's a whole series in the chapters. Say yes to the pain, say yes to conflict, say yes to anger, say yes to not knowing everything, say yes to your doubts. So these are days, right? And absolutely one of the things and I talk about all the time is the metabolic cost of saying no to yourself. And so what it has been in spiritual communities is what you're calling is called spiritual bypassing, right? So
Okay.
like oh look, I have this thing, but I'm just going to go ahead and step over it. you know and that right there is why we continue to stay oppressed. That right there is the reason why certain organizations won't take a stand in certain ways. I come from a spiritual tradition of activists, right? And by being a spiritual activist, first you are allowing yourself the space to feel the dynamic experiences of it all. And one of the ways
Is
that
that
we
a whole realm of people that we don't necessarily know about? Because I don't know that I've heard that phrase in that way. So is there a whole realm of like people who like, is there some movement or pocket or group that's like where this is the spiritual activist group of America or something like that? Because
no
I
so
mean, I'm just
so
curious because
it's
put us on if we put us
put it
on, let
on,
us
right?
know.
Put us
Yeah.
on. So there are a group called Womanists, right? So Womanists are Black feminists, but there's also a very tiny group, and I shouldn't say it's a tiny group because of womanist theologists, right? And so what that really is it's really women who have been and embracing men. And so I always have to, in every way, shape, and form, acknowledge and link arms with my brothers, right? So I wouldn't be a lot of
And we
places that I
appreciate
am
that.
without the sponsorship and mentorship of a lot of brothers, right? So always have to, and it's unfortunate that I have to do this, but I always have to say, womanist doesn't mean man hating. It doesn't mean we're emasculating. We very much understand how beautiful our walk is with our brothers, and in fact, the narrative that you have to be both feminist and man hating is something that is intentionally fracturing our communities when we should be walking together. So that's one thing. Second, there is, and I have training. I have training in what's called trauma transformation. There has been, in part of the spiritual bypassing, there is the debris of
Cameron, you
us.
back?
Hey, good to see you again. There is this debris of us taking these traumatic events and just storing them in our body. And of course, that shows up as illness, that shows up as diabetes, that shows up as high blood pressure, that shows up as gout and everything else that is all over our community. And when you understand really and have a full relationship with God, you understand that God can handle your anger, can handle your grief, can handle your sadness,
Amen.
is supposed to handle all of that. You are supposed to, if you have a good relationship with somebody, you can be angry with them. You know how long I've had these, God, what are you doing? You should be able to rage against God and have that fully expressed. And in that full expression, then feel the love around you saying, you know, I understand you don't get everything and I still love you. But part of the concern that we've had both internally and externally is we've not been able to fully express, to your point from the very beginning, we can't fully express where are the safe places for us to fully express our grief. All of the things, even the great things that happen to you, as if you launch a business and your business hits that 7-figure mark, you grieve the friends you had to leave behind to get to that 7-figure mark.
Oh
You
yeah,
grieve
friends, family,
the family, the dynamics,
relationships.
the relationships,
The birthdays,
the
the
birthdays.
the funerals, the all of that. There's so much you miss
Yeah.
grinding to get to something that. Question: Do you think you've shared a lot, and you shared a lot, and
Sure.
I'm really engaged with your thought around this. I want to go back to something in terms of that locking arms of men and women, and how you perceive this. Often we kind of go into our gendered roles with some of our content, with some of our groups, our support groups, our focuses. And this is something I'm really enjoying. Like, hey, I need to be locked arm in arm with locked arms with our brothers as a woman is.
Mhm.
Can you pull on that thread a little bit more and talk to me about what that really looks like in practice? Because I think so many groups, organizations, philosophies, books that are focused on helping women, and not saying that women don't have unique sets of problems, or men have unique sets of problems, could be done so much more if they were done in partnership, or if they are done in more public facing partnership, to say like, hey, I'm here solving this problem, or in support of women. I'm this group or these people are in support of men. But I do think there's just something more to that really touched me, because I think so many of our groups could come together and do so much more.
So I think part of it also is acknowledging that. So there's two things. So I'm going to touch on a specific project that I just executed this year, talking about that. But I'm going to go back to part of what in our fullness of expression that we really need to be honest about is we have damage that we visited on each other, and we're not talking about it. And part of it is like we've got to kind of keep up this face. There is damage still on me based on the relationships I've had in the past, starting with my father and moving forward. And then there is damage that I have done in response to others, right? I'm sure if you talk to one or more of my exes, they're gonna like, that girl, you know, and so we have to admit that there is some destructive survival relationship tactics that we're bringing in, right? And so therapy is great for everybody. Next after that is the forgiveness and the understanding that there's debris still here that we have to take ownership of, and then still with an open heart move forward, right? So that's it. And then just continue to work on being in relationship. And of course, it doesn't have to be an intimate relationship, but being in relationship with each other. Like, it's worth it for our community to come together, right? So because of that, and because of exactly what you're talking about, this conversation about men and women kind of being adversarial to each other, I started a project and launched it here and had a beautiful showing of it called He Said Yes. And it was it's still a project that we're actually in production with it right now. It's a documentary. But I had it because I'm a writer of all things. So I've written theatrical plays, I've written for television productions. And so I wrote a play called He Said Yes, and had the play have a male psychologist in the room afterwards when we did our talk back, talking about what is it where we have these adversarial relationships. So the story was about a woman asking her boyfriend to marry him, but within that, acknowledging all of the ways that men have opportunities to say yes or no to women in other ways, and what kind of psychology and what kind of historical and cultural things are kind of sitting on the man's shoulders in embracing a woman who has everything in his favor. But culturally, people are like, well, women are, and this and that and whatever. The response to this play was so overwhelming because men were like, you see us. And they're like, how did you see it? And I said, because we are here, our hearts are together, we're here. So we're continuing. We have plans for another production of the play, and there's a documentary under it as well. So there's really a conversation about looking at each other outside of the gendered roles and understanding that there's a human beating under the Y chromosome, just as there's a human beating under the X chromosome.
Yeah, I gotta let you go because our next guest is here. But
no problem.
I thank you so much for coming, and I wish you the best of luck. So NarissaStreet.com,
Yep.
Author of 31 Days of Yes, Narissa Street. Anything else you want to tell the people you got coming up?
Sure. So you can get the book at Amazon. So it's 31 Days of Yes with my name. As far as everything else coming up, we have, just look out for He Said Yes coming out as a documentary, and you'll see opportunities for you to support. So you can reach out to me and you'll see when we put up our campaign for support. But we appreciate the time. Thank you, Omi. Thank you, Cameron. And feel free to reach out at any time. I'm at my name everywhere. So I'm on LinkedIn, Instagram, everywhere. So thank you so much for the time today.
Yeah, thank you for coming. We appreciate you. All right, have a good rest of your day.
Thank you.
I really did have somebody send me the 31 Days of Yes, that whole concept of saying yes to things and getting out of your own way. But then, the other thing I was going to say is there's a whole nother concept of like, say no to more things. And I'm curious.
Yeah, and I think saying no and saying yes can be similar things because, if you're saying no to one thing, you're essentially saying yes to another, in a sense. So I think that's the thing that that's every answer is an answer. So even when you don't answer, it's still an answer.
Amen.
So I think there's that. We have our next guest, and I'll bring her up. Also, in the realm of saying yes is how we got here with the show, right? So what we were saying, whereas yes to my idea. So shout out to yes to the companies we want to run. Yes to deciding to jump out there and do the things that we're doing. Same thing with you. Like, yes to being the digital directors playbook.com. Y'all check it out. omibell.com as well. Or if you go to the link in my bio, you can join in my bio on Instagram at omibell. You can join the email list. Thank you for everybody that's joining up on LinkedIn. I will say I am mindful. I try to be mindful of my LinkedIn because LinkedIn can get real spammy. Like, people just start DMing you all kinds of ads, and we could run this type of thing for you, we could do that, we could do, and it's like, it might, I don't know what email list I'm on too, but my emails are starting to get a little randomly spammy, where people are asking me like, oh, I see you have this cohort coming up, we got this service.
We got this service. Yeah, I get a lot of that. I
I'm
think it might be
tired of it.
connected to, I think part of it is, if you ever, depending on what kind of protections you put on a website you booked, and if it's tied to an email, that's one. Two, if you've ever applied for like a loan, like a small business loan, or you apply for any kind of financial product for your business, it comes there. Two, if you start a website. So one is the GoDaddy part of like the registering the website. And if you start Squarespace, Wix, any of that, then they're also taking that metadata and probably selling it to
Yeah,
people.
that.
And then you become a qualified lead.
Yeah, agree, and that's exactly what's happening. We're gonna jump to our next guest.
Next guest.
Lisa Divers. How you
Hello,
feeling?
good morning. Can you
Hi,
hear me?
Lisa.
Hi.
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay. I'm
Okay, freedom to.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You also what? Say one more time.
a teacher, so an after school teacher with Charlotte Mecklenburg County Schools, and
Okay.
Where is that?
I
What
used to
state
teach-
is that
I used
in?
to teach at I
North
used to teach
Carolina?
at Sedgefield Middle over off of
yeah,
South.
no, okay,
Yeah.
Is this
Okay.
Carolina talk?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It's Carolina.
This Carolina talk? Okay.
Yeah. Today was supposed to be a teacher work day, and found out yesterday it wasn't, but I didn't want to not be here today. So I'm here, but I'm in my office. So I apologize for the background and everything.
But do you teach after school?
After school, yeah. So we're
Okay,
open
good.
all day. Yeah.
Oh. What's your Instagram or website for your company?
It's F2H Inc. For the Instagram. The website is freedom, 2 hope inc.org.
Okay, I'm gonna send them to Instagram, then I'll be able to get to it. Okay, cool. So, well, thank you for that. That's interesting. How did you hear about the show?
So I used to listen to you all the time on Urban View, and then I signed up as an Omi
homie. All right,
so
yes.
I got
need a special sound
The
for my
Omi homies be coming through for you.
I'm telling you, they do. Shout out. Listen, let me tell y'all, the Omi homies be coming through, period. Like, they are loyal. They follow me wherever I go. I love it. I'm so thankful. Like, I do not take that for granted. When I needed somebody for content support, the girl who's working with me is like one of my Omi homies' daughters.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
I miss you. I miss y'all both on Urban View.
Yeah, we're not live on Tuesdays. You can catch me on Sunday. Okay.
Yes.
But yeah, tell us about Freedom to Hope. I want to hear about it.
Okay, so I'm an autism mom of 2. They're teenagers now, and what I noticed is that you lose your friends. You just slowly start entering this state where you're so involved in trying to get services and making sure your children are okay, that you lose your friends. You start going into a depression that you don't know about, and your stress level is so high that you just kind of distance yourself from everybody, not intentionally, but it just happens. And before you know it, you're on this island alone. And I found myself there. And I was like, oh my goodness, if I'm experiencing this, then I know that a whole lot of other parents are also experiencing this. And it doesn't have to be this way. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to create something for parents, because there are a lot of resources out there for what your children need, but it's nothing out there for the caregivers. And you get lost in the sauce, of doing everything. And you find yourself alone. And it can be very depressing. So I wanted to create a safe space for caregivers, parents to come and just be themselves.
Mm.
Do everyday things that you would normally do, but you're doing it with people who are like-minded, and you don't have to explain yourself over and over what's happening in your life. They just get it, So
Yeah.
that's what
Community.
it's about.
Community. Like we
Yes.
all need community. And
Mhm.
that is like so key right now. For what you're managing a lot of, like, I have I'm in a breathwork community, and one of the women there, she's a mom, she's an autism mom as well. Like, I know a couple of different moms. Yeah. And the woman who's in the breathwork community with me, she's a therapist. And she talks about this all the time, about just like
Mhm.
needing community, needing your tribe.
Yes.
Right? Because it really takes a tribe to thrive right now, and figuring out who that is. So I really appreciate people who are pulling together communities in a way where people who would not be able to find each other. I think that is the kicker, is that, like, sometimes you think you're the only one. You feel like, I'm the only one dealing with it. I'm the only one working through it. I'm the only one. Like, somebody out there may understand because they're dealing with it too, but they don't get it like I'm getting it. They don't, you just. So are you is it virtual? Is it in Charlotte?
So no, we try to be in person as much as possible. We do some things virtually. So our book club we do virtually because it's just easier for everyone. But we get out, we walk. We have a walking club, and we walk every other Saturday. And we just walk and we just talk and vent and just be with each other. And then we get together to do yoga and meditation. The breath work is so
Okay.
important. Yes. And yeah, but we do offer some virtual
We'll have to come there and lead a session with y'all someday.
yes, yes.
That'd be
So
great.
you actually are a leader, a breathwork leader.
Yeah.
Big
So
time.
Okay.
yeah, I got certified in breathwork facilitation and Reiki 1 and 2,
Oh,
sound healing.
okay.
Yeah.
That's my next thing. I want to be certified in it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let me know.
Yes.
I could tell you where I went.
Okay. Yeah.
And I had a great experience, and I have, like, when you're in different communities, you're realizing, especially when it comes to like certification, I think you're not with a lot of people or people of color. So it's something I've thought about. I don't know. Sometimes, like, when it comes to community things, because this goes right back to the community piece, I'm
Mhm.
always thinking, what is my thing to solve? Which one of these things is the problem I'm supposed to be solving? You know what
Right.
I mean? Because then I'd be like,
Yes.
dang, it's not enough people that do this. And it's like, but am I the one that got to go make enough people to do that? I don't
Right.
exactly know. Lisa, I see you in the waiting room, by the way. So, I think, well, we got two Lisas. I got a Lisa in the waiting room, and I got a Lisa on the
Oh,
screen.
okay.
But yeah, so I think when, and Cameron and I was talking about this the other day about how, like, admiring people who have gone through a certain challenge or met certain and, like, I'm so careful. I really don't want to. I think stop me up with my language, because I don't want to refer to having a child with autism as a challenge, or like as like a
Oh,
obstacle. Like, I don't want to do that.
it is a challenge though. It is. That's the
Mm.
reality of it. Challenge doesn't always mean something awful, but
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie and say, oh, I'm okay. And see, that's what I was doing. I'm okay. I'm all
You
right.
got to
It's
let
okay.
people. You got to let people know. It is if. Do you find it?
Mhm.
Do you find it it's almost sometimes, when people say, how you doing? And most people don't really want the answer to that question.
Yep.
Most
Yep.
people don't like, well, how's it going? Or how's such and such. Even now it's the how you doing? Or how's the business going? Like, I know you thrive. Or they insert, how you doing? I know you're doing well. Actually, you don't know I'm doing well. And
Exactly.
it's and people mentally and verbally and mentally kind of box you in. And
Yeah.
you don't want to put that burden on other people.
That's what I was getting ready to say.
Reason.
Yep.
But
yeah.
how have you? I have a question,
Oh.
and not to misdirect, but question on this, because challenge. I'm hoping we're using the right words for this. Is there a way to expand, or are there other services that are even more national? Because everybody can't be in Carolina, but I don't know how many exactly, hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of people are dealing with autism, or have autism, and then the parents of autistic children. But I can only imagine the support, the uniqueness of that life, and of the services and tips, tactics, and support services for both the children and for the parents could be there. Have you, when you're putting your thing together, did you tap into something that was larger, or did you just say there was a void here, or there was a void here locally, and I needed to pull this together? Talk me through your journey, and talk me through other, like you said, more either virtual or national services, or more widespread services that you may be partnering with or looking to.
So initially it's been local because we're just growing. But so this year, we have a walkathon annually, which is coming up in April. And this year we're walking in person, but we also have a virtual component of it. So we're going to do a live stream so that people who are living elsewhere, we have people from Maryland, that's where I'm from originally. And they want to support. So they're going to walk with us virtually. So eventually I would love to do this globally, or even have pockets, where there's an office, in each state, because it is needed everywhere.
Yeah, it definitely is. So for now, you're local to somebody say your website is really lovely.
Oh,
and I could definitely see this as a national org. Do you think it's something you might do? Are you? I know you're like, I don't know. I don't know, Listen, Miss Divers, where you want to, take up the charge? Let me not pressure you. I'm sorry. you got enough you working with, so let me not pressure you. But we, as Cameron was saying, we know it's a need all over. We appreciate you. We also know you're at work and you got other kids that need you. You got kids that need you all day long, and then you got to go home and manage your kids. And this is how it works as being a teacher.
Exactly.
But yeah, it is.
Yeah, and I meet so many parents. Like you say, I'm trying to get away from it. So I'm at the school, and then I meet the parents, and then I tell them my story, and you could just see on their face the stress level going down. And it's like, she understands, and I find myself right back in. I'm like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
On YouTube, Chat Bother said, "Dream big."
Dream. Okay. All right. I received that, and I want to do whatever I can. It's always been my life goal to make a difference in the world. Like, I knew I couldn't just have a job. I was like, it has to.
I love that.
Something that's helping.
And you do it, and you're doing it, and you're understanding it through your vantage point, and being able to bring together people who are also going through not just a challenge, but it's a blessing. I'm pretty sure your children. I know you see your children as a blessing, and they see them as a blessing, and you're blessing others with that support. So, kudos to you. And I looked at your website.
Thank you. We're growing.
Dang, I got to look at the website. Wait, Let me make sure I let everybody know what the website is. So let me
Okay.
make sure I let them know.
I just Googled it and went to
Oh,
her.
good. Look at you just Googling stuff. You so smart. All right, what is it? It's F
Freedom
of freedom.
to the number 2,
The number 2,
hopeinc.org.
hopeinc.org.
And I like the little anchor with the butterflies. Is it? Can you real quick before you go? Does that mean? What does that mean? The logo.
So Freedom to Hope, we want Freedom to Hope to be the anchor for the parents, somewhere where they can land. And then once they get there, they're able to get all the goodness of Freedom to Hope, the self-care, the love, and then they can just go on and thrive like them butterflies are flying away.
Oh,
Hopefully,
nah.
right
Lisa,
here.
this is a national organization. Period. That's it. I'm
Oh,
just letting you know. It's a national organization. Okay. So whenever you get ready to make it that,
We putting that in. We putting
then
that on you. We're not forcing it on you. We just sending that energy and
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
opportunity
We're
your
gonna
way.
send that out to the atmosphere. The website looks so serene too.
yeah.
It looks so peaceful. I was like, oh, cool. This is great. All
Why
right,
y'all
cool, cool,
making me
cool.
cry on the what's going on?
You got this. You got this.
Yeah.
Just whatever you feel called to it in your spirit. There's a reason for it. I'm a firm believer that if it came to you, it was for you to do. So if you see a path, start, and start slow. Start talking to, start thinking about structure. If you want to do chapters, you can set up a model where it doesn't have to fall all on you. So don't feel like you got to take it all on. First of all, you working after school. So what I did, a lot of the things that I have done have been modeled after other things. So I've never told this. I don't never really say this publicly, but when I got ready to start Black Girl Ventures, I studied the mega church. And I studied the mega church because I was looking at it. I was looking at like what is the rhythm of bringing in members, having those new members be welcomed, having those new members have almost an unwritten curriculum of a way that you move. You know what I mean? The almost like a, how like when you join a church and then people welcome you in and there's this, it's not like you get like written, it's not like you get like written like this is what you got to do. You don't always get that, but there's somehow this motion that you go through, whether it's be the new this ministry or the youth, like, and then you somehow understand all the other opportunities inside of the church to join. And then you
Yes.
somehow, and then like I'm like, oh, how do they do this? And so I started really looking at like just studying what that meant, like how do people move through it. So I'm saying that to say, in the way that after school works, their after school may sit at, it may be run either by central office or sometimes even an outside entity that's contracted by the school system. And then they have all these programs across the different schools, and then people are essentially, and then they have a structure. They have a, the after school director for this school, the person who's the second to that director, and maybe it's just those people running that particular program. And those programs have a rhythm, they have a schedule, they have all of that, right?
Yeah.
Take a page out of whatever you already know and make it easy for yourself, right? So if you, and within your group, you're like, hey, what might be the next place? You're from Maryland, chatting about that. They said those friends in Maryland, friends in Maryland who come to Charlotte and have them organize walks where they live. It could start as simple as just the walks. Like maybe the walk is the primary thing. You decide like, do y'all know anybody that may want to do this in their city? Right. And you're just kind of bringing them under. Because what I learned is that like what I've learned from BGV is I'm scaling the energy of me. I'm scaling so when people go like, oh my God, like, the BGV community is just so helpful, whatever. Really, I'm scaling my grandma. So what my grandma taught me about community, about bringing people together. And I talked a little bit about that yesterday, about like everybody's welcome, about like, whoever you are, however you are, you're welcome. Like that kind of thing is what I learned. So don't feel like it's so outside of you. Take whatever's right around you, observe it, note it, lay it all out for yourself. And you can take your time, lay it all out for yourself. Well, how would I want the structures to be based off of what I already know and have? But something also tells me that this is not even about whether or not you know how to do the structure. This is just about maybe being a little nervous to take on something that where people have to rely on you, or where your reputation has to scale in a certain way, whether or not you can manage it, whether or not you'll be successful at it, whether or not you can hold it, whether or not, you know what I mean? Something tells me it's more that than it
Yeah,
is
you're right.
structural or any of that. So I would say, take your time and do what makes sense for you.
Okay.
And you don't have to do anything. That's number one. Do only what you feel called to do, and do only as much as you feel called to do. And then call people around you to do the rest.
Mm.
So that's what I would say. Like, because I think sometimes we just think, I'm gonna start this thing, and I got to do all of it, and I got to figure out all of it, and I got to, even me, I'm 10 years in of BGV, further in when it comes to entrepreneurship overall, and I'm still like, I still have to catch myself and go, I have a whole team. Let me share it with them. let me share what I feel like is a burden that I'm carrying to keep everything going. Let me share it with them. And it's taken me quite some time to get to that point, and I have to remind myself, like, I don't have to think of every solution. I don't have to think. I have people around me who want to help, and I can share it with them. And so what you're doing is so helpful, I think, to so many people, that I feel like, as soon as people are offered the opportunity, now there may be some governance in there that you have to put in place just so
Right.
people don't go off the rails. But and you might keep it small in terms of organizing team, but and look to people you can really trust, who are like, no, I'm with you. I've seen the impact it's had on my life, and I believe it can have an impact on other people's lives. Like the people that are saying that to you, like, start there. Don't start going looking for all these other folks, and like feeling like you got to do all this external work. It starts really with 2 or 3 people.
Mm.
2 people that care a lot, right?
Yeah.
And essentially what y'all are doing, looking at the website, looking at the walkathons, is you're creating community for your children, and like they got to grow up, right?
Yeah.
And as they grow up, having community that they can like look to in some way as they, cope and work through social anxieties and whatever that looks like, for themselves. Like you're creating community. It's like a twofold thing you're doing.
Wow. Thank you. Oh,
Yeah.
you were in my head, like you were saying everything. I'm like, I can't do all because how am I going to, reach these people over here and work and be a mom and so yeah. And I do have good people around me, and that's what I want. I want Freedom to Hope to be that for other people. I do have a good community. I know I'm blessed to have family, who cares, and they're able to offer me relief, and everybody deserves that. It shouldn't just be one person.
I love that. You're gonna do great things. I'm excited. No pressure. Okay. Just whenever you feel it. If you feel it, then go. If you don't feel it, don't go. All right. All right. All
Thank
right. I
you for this
appreciate you,
time.
Lisa. Thanks so much for coming.
All right.
All right.
Bye-bye.
All right. Have a good rest of your day.
Okay.
I love, I
That
felt
was
that.
fun.
I
I
felt
don't
that.
want to make people cry, but she's about to make me cry.
I know she's about to make me cry too. I
Man,
literally was like,
the
I was
power
like,
of these airwaves and and it's not to be taken lightly. It's not to be
no,
taken
it's
lightly. The
definitely not. It's
inspiration.
definitely not. I was about to cry too, child. I was trying to hold it in.
That's what I said. I looked at the website and I was like, she there holding her son, and then that's like, man.
Yeah, no.
Those are things. I'm assuming I'd be strong enough if it happens. I don't have children, and in a honest, vulnerable moment, being in my now, I guess I'm in my mid-40s. I'm trying to not say that, but being in my 44 and 44.
I'm not rounding up yet. I'm not rounding up.
Yeah,
I'm still
you don't
early
say
till
that.
I'm 46.
But all that to say is that one of the things I think about, even as a man, people, oh yeah, man, you can have kids, but it's like there come complications and higher risks also with men having children later. And knowing, having friends and or some family who have children with, like I said, either various disabilities or challenges and things of that nature, I'm like, do I have the strength to do
You
that?
will
Because like
have the
it's so
strength.
hard to just that. And I'm also not trying to project that, but you just start to think about, it's just a natural thing to start thinking about all those, what could go wrong or what
Yeah, what
what
ifs.
could happen,
And I
the what
mean,
if.
listen, when it comes to having kids, y'all, you be thinking about all kinds of stuff for real.
It's like I just wanted my wife to live, like with Black maternal health stuff. Like
Mm,
I like you, and
that part.
you try not to go to down those realms because like, dang, I'm not even married yet. I'm nowhere even near that place. But when you see
Well, you're
people who have,
every day you're one step closer to being married. That's what I'm saying to myself. Okay. If it's what you want for your life, then every day one step further. We in World War III. It's things, in our rearview mirrors, things blowing up, and I'm
they,
still like, where's my husband at? You know what I'm saying? Like this, it is it's still
I
gonna
don't
be
want to go through this.
my
And
prayer.
to the audience, it's real. Please stay tapped in and understand what's happening. Gas prices are going up. They just not to make a hard shift. I know we have a guest, but something I want people to be aware of, that it's not being well reported and understanding, but hey, elections have real implications. Not just who you're voting for president right now. In many states, we just saw in Illinois there was the primaries. Mississippi just had primaries a couple weeks ago. Texas just had primaries. More states are coming up with primaries in April, May, and June. So please make sure you're registering even now, because who you're going to vote for in the fall is going to be determined now. But these elections have consequences, because now, as you see gas prices more than likely universally rising, Iran just cut off the Strait of Hormuz. What is the Strait of Hormuz? There's a
Hormuz,
strait,
straight up Hormuz.
Hormuz. Sorry,
It's okay.
I can't say. But
You
I
just
was
put
reading.
Alex Hormozy into a straight.
Yeah, Hormuz had to be I'm sorry. The Strait of Hormuz. But what that is that water pathway, they said, is responsible for approximately 20% of the oil flow in the world. And it's the water that, it's like the strait of the water that is Iran, Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, that sea that is there, and they're cutting that off. And it's like, and who knows what Trump and Hegseth's response is, but it's just, when people are wondering, like, well, why are these normal everyday issues starting to come to us? Who you're voting for at every level of support matters. Even the state level, even though they're not dealing with it, they are empowered because state legislatures are powerful. The one party, the Republican Party, is empowered because, like, oh, I've got all these governors and state legislatures that I can control. So if I don't want, if I can't get something done federally, I'll kick the certain things down to my various states and let them there. So I say all that to say, always going to stay on some politics and make sure people are voting and
No,
being informed.
absolutely.
And I saw that story yesterday. I was like, dang, man, I don't know.
Right about now, we need Jesus to turn the water into gas.
Yes,
Forget wine.
forget the wine.
This is crazy out here. But I'm gonna bring up Lisa. She's actually government contracting. So we've been talking about government contracting.
No, Lisa. Now we got real questions. Oh, hold up! I follow you.
Yeah. Hi. Yes.
Yeah, she was here before.
Oh, that's why. Okay, I was like,
That's our proper demand.
I was like, I've been looking at this woman's face the last 2 weeks.
I mean, I need to update my social media. You started looking at the same pictures of me.
No, not the same picture.
Hey, no.
Like,
let me say this
outfit.
though. Let me say this. You're killing it, because like I saw the post you did for the 30-day show, and I was like, okay, Lisa, what we doing? You got a team. Somebody creating us.
Yes.
Okay.
It is not on my to-do list, except to make sure that they are paid.
One of these I do want to say that I really admire about where I've seen you grow is the ability to build out a team. Like, I know we since you've been on here, we've been talking a lot about government contracting. But and like how that works. By the way, I don't know if I had deliverables by today that I was supposed to have done, but I did not do them. Whatever they were, I did not do them. Okay,
Okay,
they're not
no
done.
pressure.
Okay. But you know, Maria Algray from the morning crew, she did create this first layer of an app for me. And so I am off to now building it out bigger, and I'll have it posted hopefully by tomorrow is my goal, is to have it up so everybody can go. So you can do some breathing on your own. And you can come into, actually it's on me. I'm not gonna say by tomorrow. I'm gonna say by Monday, because I'm gonna spend tomorrow. What's today? Thursday.
Yes.
I'm
Friday.
gonna. Today's Friday. Got to be more careful. I'm gonna spend tomorrow recording my voice so that it can be on the app, so that when people log in, they can actually follow my voice recordings. That's the one piece I'm missing right now for sure. But
Be nice.
yeah, I think it's gonna be good. I'm excited. I'm excited about it. So, said out to say, the way you've been able to build out a team, I think is fantastic, and build out a team that you trust and rely on.
Yeah.
What has your team building journey been like? I'm gonna post your name and all that for across the bottom, but tell us a little bit about what your team building journey has been like.
So it has not been a linear path. I know people always talk about entrepreneurship is not linear. Hiring people on the team, because especially I think when you have a small business, it's so personal to you that you want it to be implemented a certain way. So I think finding team members that can implement in a way that is very reflective of you is really important. So I have had a lot of trial and error with that. I feel like it's just now, what am I, 6 years in, that I feel like I have a bit more of a formula of who I'm choosing. I know more of a personality type of who I'm choosing. I have a better picture of what that looks like. And that has been really helpful. And really it requires you to be introspective to say what you need. Like, what type of leader am I really? Not the kind of leader that I want to be. Still working on
Who are
that.
you actually? I have a question,
Yeah.
Lisa, to that
Yeah.
point, and this could be, and this is selfish. This is for me. Do
Okay.
you? Because I'm going through that now. I'm in the year. I've always been an entrepreneur, but in terms of like, hey, full step out, this new post White House phase. How do I run this? How do I build the empire that we have on paper? When you're thinking about the attributes of a team and the roles you need, I mean, I go through an exercise where I'm like, well, this is the job description of something I need, a scope or contractor or something like that. But when being introspective of understanding who works best for you and who works best for your company, because as you get bigger, they may not even need to necessarily be with you per se, but your company. Are you writing this down? Do you have workbooks? Do you have like a question list that you constantly, like a framework that you put together, and like you go through and say, I'm gonna fill these things out so I can ask, and then quietly, can you send it to me? If you do, if you do, I don't know if you charge for that, but I'm just looking for that, because the consistency of understanding both who's going to work with me as you have a smaller team, but then also who's works for your culture. This is before you get to hire an HR person.
Oh, wait a
Yes.
minute.
Or
Wait a
something
minute,
like that.
Cameron.
You said it right there.
something. You said something. We gotta double tap on that one part. Who's gonna work for me versus who's gonna work for the culture of what I'm building? That articulation, you said you were saying that, but like that needs to be put somewhere.
That's the
Because
word.
that is the part that you learn. That is the number one thing that you learn. And I've actually never heard anybody like quite articulate it in that way. But like, we talk about leader development. We talk about getting clear on what you need and that kind of thing. But who will work for you versus who will work for the culture, two different things. And what I learned is that I was building culture around how I work. And I had to eventually be like, I need to build culture around how this works, so that people can actually adapt and I could bring in other leaders. So in the beginning, while it was just me, by the way, I will also admit, I am a 0 to 5 person, like 1 to 5. Give me 1 to 5 people, I can take over the world. When you get to 20 people, bro, it ain't the same game.
Somebody else needs to manage all
You need
these
another
things.
layer.
It ain't the same game. When you get to 10 people, you got to start looking at culture different, right? It's like, it's not the same game. And it's yes to having other leaders, but it's not as fun for me. I really like when I had a small team, 5 people who were in it doing it. Shout out to my team though, they're amazing. But I'm saying, like, when I had a small team and we were like in it, everybody had the same energy. We was just, let's go. It felt like yes. But then you get to 7 people, you get to 10 people, then you get to 12 people, and it's like, wait a minute.
Difference.
Totally different.
Yeah.
So that, no, I was building a culture around what worked for me, and I didn't realize until I realized like it won't work for any of the other leaders I'm bringing in. Other leaders I was bringing in, because they weren't giving feedback like me. They weren't as direct as I am. They weren't. They didn't ideate with people the same way. They didn't. They didn't like do the thing where it's like, I'm here with you, but I'll also jump in with you. They didn't do that. Like leaders who really were like, no, I lead from back here. I don't jump into your work and help you. And that's not how I lead. Like for me, at one point, not now, but in the beginning days, maybe up until like 2024, honestly, you know, if we had to get something done, I'm like, everybody come into the room. What's going on? What we doing? What's not working? Why are we doing it? Everybody get a task. You do this, you do this, you do this. And then we would knock it out. But then bringing in other leaders, I realized like that's not how other people get things done. They get things done through conversation or coaching. They get things done through deadlines and accountability. They get things done, and all of it works. But then I would get anxious because I'm like, wait a minute, y'all. During all the deadlines, we need to get this thing done today. What we got, you know what I mean? It's that part is the part. It's a learning.
That's the entrepreneur. Like I was just like the entrepreneur to CEO has been a transition. I feel like that's what you're saying. When you're an entrepreneur,
that is
everybody's sort of working for you, right? Because you are the company. But when you become a CEO, it's like, oh, okay, I'm the CEO and this entity is separate. And I'm not gonna jump in every second. I feel like that has been a transition. So that's why I keep an assistant that works with me in my way and then the company culture. I will say I had a really good mentor. She was not really in an entrepreneur space, but she was a licensed therapist. I was telling her she was in solo practice, but I knew I wanted to grow a clinic, which a clinic for me is 10 or more clinicians, not me and me and one other person working in the office and I'm doing direct practice. No, I want to take a step back. I want to manage 10 clinicians. I want to have at least 100 patients. I want to, 1,000 patients. I want to work that way. And I knew I wanted to do that very quickly after I was trying to make my rent money with just me and one other person. And it does not work the same that way. Right. And so I was like, okay, I need to take
I'm making a note because you just said something.
Yeah. But she told me I was very blessed in discussing my slight stress with, okay, so this person is not doing this. I'm not sure how to get this person to do that. I hadn't really been a leader of peers, right? When you're in a corporation, I've already been assigned a title and they already have a job description and it's a different kind of culture. And she said that word to me. She said, this is your company and you have to decide the culture of your company and create that culture yourself. She said, everyone's coming in to a private practice with a different idea of what that looks like. And a private practice where I was one of the youngest people. I own the practice. I'm in my 20s getting it. And they're all much older. And she said, you have to really work. You have to decide what your culture is and then make sure that you are managing the culture of the company. She said, especially in the very, very beginning. And you guys have to remember, like most entrepreneurs, I was doing this after I got off my 9-to-5 job. So I might not go into the office until 6. And they've been there since 10. And I'm coming in trying to make things my way. So it was a big learning curve. So to answer your question, Karen, I'm old school. I write it all down. So I had to be writing it down doing my day job so that when I came in and I came into my office, I had to make it quick and concise because some people were going to leave at 7. They don't have time for me to figure it out while I'm there. So yes, I wrote it all down like a speech. This is what I want. You know what I mean? And even to the point where sometimes I would write down how exactly I would say it to them. I would be like, okay, Mary this way, Susan this way. So I would have a team meeting and then I would have individuals. I had to remember that some people don't like to be, I'm not going to say reprimanded, but spoken to about a change in front of other people because they see it as
Mhm.
reprimanded. I'm like, I'm not reprimanding. I feel like, oh, we just talking. We're
Right.
just trying to figure this out. I'm not in any way
That's
confrontational.
how I was feeling.
And
And
it, and
so,
I always I
yeah.
feel that so much because I used to it would easy to say, oh, it's Gen Z or younger. No, it's just people in general. And that's like because you being so mission focused, and you're like,
Mhm.
hey, in your mind and yours and what's on your papers, I'm juggling all these various things.
Mhm, mhm.
I just am trying to get to the most efficient way to say this, and we're all here.
Yeah.
And also you always like, well, I'm trying to be
Mhm.
transparent, so let me just.
Mhm.
But I get that. Also, check your DMs. I literally sent
Okay.
you my email
Okay.
immediately. You said you wrote it all down.
I do. I'm old school in that way. I started off that way, like I
I
said, from
could
9
use
to
that
5.
help.
Right. Yeah.
Well, now you got ChatGPT. So I think for me, I think right now the difference between like when we started versus like now is that like with AI, especially so Claude doesn't have the with Claude, the voice version, voice to transcript works on your phone, but it doesn't work on a computer. With ChatGPT, voice to transcript works on your computer and on your phone, depending on which one of these you're using. I don't find Gemini to be as helpful all the time. I like Gemini best for images, but that's me. I think that what I would say though is just you could just be talking to it. Like
Mhm,
I realize we're
Yeah.
running into this scenario. This is happening. I'm trying to figure out what do I need to develop around this? Do I need an SOP? You can always say act as a, and then think of a company that's similar to yours. So I just built out the next version of the app that Maria essentially framed for me. And what I did was like, act as a engineer at Com or Noom and to consider the flow that people need to go through to stay the most engaged, to continue to coming back, yada yada yada, right? Like now you can pull on like that kind of expertise. So now you can say, act as the operations officer for the biggest
Yeah.
other digital director firm or digital firm, and then ask me. This is where I would start. Act as operations, the COO for what's the freaking what is it, WME? I don't know, think of a big agency. Big
Yeah.
agency, right? Ask me 10 questions that I need to be able to shape the operations for my team, right? I got 5 people and we got 10 contracts and we're serving at X rate, right? Then it'll ask you the 10 questions. Have the conversation with it. Answer the questions back and forth. And then you can just tell it. From here, can you create SOPs that we need at this stage, like this stage. And then once we get to $500,000 org and we hire 10 more people, what are SOPs we need at that stage? Like now it's so like you could just kind of, now you got to read all that and refine it and answer questions and all that. But you're not living in a day where you got to necessarily manually write it the way I think we had to.
Yeah, I am still working on, I'm actually, when I leave here, I'm doing signing up for a webinar. I've signed up for a webinar about how to use AI more efficiently in your business. I will say that is one of the things that I need to work on personally. I really like values based, right? I feel like we're in this thing, and that was one of the mistakes I feel like I made with a clinician that did. I'm sorry, one of my assistants, an executive assistant, and this may not sound like a lot to anybody else, but I am in the South, and she was $26 an hour, and you have to remember, for a small business, that is a lot of money to pay for 40 hours a week. But I felt like I needed an assistant just for me and my company. I mean, just for me, not just for the company. And she AI'd everything. And it was very, very clear that she did. And I'm like, I need something specific to me. This is way too general. So I kept saying refine, 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 until I end up firing her because I realized she didn't know how to refine. And so maybe she just didn't know her prompts like you. you got really good prompts. You're like, okay, this is really specific. And so one thing that I've done for me personally is that I work a lot around people's values. So here are my values, right? I value my time. I value my family. So these are the things that are going to be top priority to me. I value efficiency. I value accuracy. And so all those things. And so I'll just ask them, like, what are your top 5 values? And then what are the top 5? And so you could Google, I mean, I've never used ChatGPT for this, but you could ask those questions and see what ChatGPT comes to me. But I'm just going to give you spoiler alert for what I'm going to write about. But I want to know what's of value to you so that I can understand how you work and what's important to you. And so maybe it's a value for you to, at work, for you to be constantly getting raises or promotions, name promotions, stuff like that. So I don't know, maybe consistency is important to you, longevity. I'm not sure. But even if you tell me, hey, I'm thinking about doing this for a year and then my goal is to move on to blah, blah, blah. I'm okay with that. A good assistant for a year. At one point I'd be like, no, I'm really looking for some longevity. But I've realized that may not be, because I value efficiency. And so I relate those two things the same. I don't want to train someone else again after a year. But what I've realized is if I have someone really good for a year, I'm at a better point that I have more time and more money. And if you do your job well for that year.
Okay. I think there's trade-offs.
Okay.
If you tell me
I'm
you're
gonna show
looking
y'all
for a
something.
job for a year and then you
I want
gotta
to show y'all this.
then
Okay.
I need you to have you need to be painting a picture to me that you're super efficient. Because I think for me, if I'm gonna take you on for a year, I think that's the kicker. Yeah. So I was just about to say the book I just dropped in the chat is the book that he's holding up right now, is The Founder and the Force Multiplier. This book you need this book to understand how to work with your assistant.
You see this? This
Cameron's
is
reading it too. Look
you
at that.
reading
He
this?
was taking
The
notes.
Founder and
Yo,
the Force
taking
Multiplier.
notes.
They also have the YouTube stuff was a little older. I haven't looked at it lately. But The Founder and the Force Multiplier will help you really understand. One of the things that I like, if you listen to the book, one of the things that I like about it is there's a point in the book where the author is talking, but there's a point in the audio book where the assistant is talking too. And I think hearing from both of those perspectives is so important and helped me understand how to work with my assistant 10 times better. So I recommend it to every assistant that I bring on. I also recommend it to Founder.
I sent it to mine and said, this is in this, when we re-upped our next contract, this is literally in the scope of work. Reading this book in the next
Yeah, you got it.
in the next 3
It is
weeks.
very, very good. The Founder and the Force
I love
Multiplier.
that.
I don't even know how I found out about it, but it really, really, really is good.
I found out about it in a I wish I could credit what pods. I'm always listening to pods of leaders and interviews of various leaders and so on. Someone had mentioned it, and I just went down a little Google path. Like whenever people mention books, like I'm big on that and seeing that. And to the other reason why I think this is important, and it's applicable to a lot of different types of business. One, the assistant kept finding her role as an assistant. She left the company, came back, assistant, chief of staff, but it really discusses and breaks down at what levels of a business you're growing, what they can be doing, and how your interaction is. And most people see, very few people, and this is the other thing I'm curious, on the whole assistant culture, it feels like we're moving away from no one wants to be an assistant because whether it's social media and everybody feels like they already got the idea. What?
I heard there's a new name that somebody called it, which was like a executive business partner. And I was like, what is that?
First of all, you're not a partner. Because where's your bread up? Did you put your bread up?
That part. If you get
where your blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah,
Tears
it's crazy though.
You go home. You wait for me to tell you what to do, not the other way around. Like,
yeah, no, it was really interesting when I saw that, because I just hired a new assistant, and so my current assistant's been with me for 3 years, but we want to move him to another part of the company, and he was ready to also move to another part of the company, and it just made sense for him and me, because I think the level that I need now is a little different. He's amazing. I love him. But I have a new assistant and she's local. So I think like that's also helpful for me. Because historically my assistants have been all virtual for the most part. But I can't live without it. I don't care what I do in life. I'm gonna have to have an assistant. Like I don't know. Like
A
it's
human,
just
not just an AI assistant.
oh
Yes.
no, a human.
Now,
AI cannot do what I'm thinking of.
Can I still need
Let me
that
take a
human?
step
But
back though.
oh, sorry.
Let me take a step back.
Mhm.
The values part first, and you know, and we'll have to go over this. And I feel like every time Lisa comes, we're like, we need another day, but we need another day to really get into like structuring, because I think first and foremost, you should be thinking about your core values. So there's like
Right.
value there, yes, in terms of like what you value as a leader and hiring people, but like what are your core values? I think this is working at Google and even doing some work with Amazon. This is where I saw this play out in a way where I was like, oh, and as the employees can, you know them or spit them out, or you know what I mean, it's like that corporate culture of that, I was like, wow, that's interesting. So so also, that was the reason I did it, but I also realized that people don't tell people to do them, and it's like, do you have core values for your company overall? Like I would start with that, like what are your core values? What does
Yeah,
that mean for your culture?
you have to have your company core values and your own core values. Because remember, I've been working on a personal assistant for me. The company seems to be doing pretty well with that, like hiring. Well, they have a more specific job description, right? Like you're going to be doing HR, you are going to be doing the billing, you are going to answer the phones, right? So that's different than what I need personally. So you absolutely, so yeah, you can't ask someone for their values if you don't have your own. You need to have core values for the company and then core values for yourself. So, and I think that's it. That's important. But I feel like you, Omi, I love what you said, because one of the things, and I've mentioned this last time or maybe the first time, about being comfortable saying I have nannies, and you mentioned, you know, like having a lot of assistants. I feel like we have to really understand that used to be for like, oh, only if you're super wealthy or only. No, it's like if you want to be efficient, I can spend 3 hours cleaning my house, probably longer, because we got 3 stories. So probably I can spend longer than that. Or I can hire someone who has been cleaning houses for the last 5 years and can do it more efficiently than me, and has a
And
team
cares
to do
about
it.
it more.
And cares about it more, right? And so they have a team. And so why am I trying to do every single job when there are some things that I know I do well? I just hired, as of last week, someone to help me iron. I don't want to hear any judgment in the comments. And I did that last
Child,
week
I don't
because
iron nothing. My mom be so like, how are you not ironing? I'm not ironing. I'm throwing it in there. I'm throwing
I
that thing in
don't
there.
iron. But
I
then I
don't
had an
iron.
in-person meeting, because we're back to that. So now a lot of people, and I may have mentioned, I'm new to the South. And the way people do business in the South is that they want to meet
Yeah.
you in person. That's very different than Miami. Miami South, but different South. And it's very different than Philadelphia. So that's the first 2 places where I grew my business. And so on the East Coast, people don't really care as long as you have the money, you can produce what you said you're going to produce. And we talked about, you know, we're entrepreneurs, we're efficient, we're going to get this done, I'm going to meet this deadline, I'm going to do this. And so that's all they really care about. And then you come to the South and they're like, well, let's have dinner first. I'm like, I can send me a DocuSign. You know, I got it. You know what I mean? And so
You gotta know the culture. You gotta know that culture.
You do. It's all about culture. And so I have to iron more. I can't be in front of these people talking about what I can do and I can't even iron. So I just had to hire somebody after like my 5th in-person meeting, and it's holding me up. I'm like, I just got off of a call. Now I'm running. I'm like, I don't like running around like that anymore. I don't have a driver yet. So that's my goal. I'm trying to get to the point where I have a driver.
And
so
that's what I'm trying to get to.
What city do you live in?
I live in Charlotte, North Carolina for the last 2 years.
Why you need a driver? It ain't that big. If you were in Houston, Dallas, or Atlanta, where you in traffic a lot.
It's big enough. You know what I'm saying? Traffic is bad, especially like on a NASCAR, like on the race days. It gets crazy.
Yeah.
But I'm not here to stop your dreams. If you need a driver,
you know what it
get
is?
you a driver.
It's not as much parking. I feel like Charlotte was so I've been coming to Charlotte since this is the first city I lived in when I graduated from college. My little sister was in college here, so I came to Charlotte. I wanted to change the pace. I wanted to be warm. I'm from the Chicago area. It's cold all the time. I was like, oh, I know I'm moving down south, and it moved at a snail's pace. And I said, it was 2004, and I said, I am not moving down south. And then I moved to Philly. I was just like that kind of culture.
Damn, we was living in Charlotte at the same time.
Really, in 2000, girl, it was like I said, okay. It felt like after 10 o'clock, everybody went home. And I was like, where's the party at? Like, I'm 21. Like, I said, no. So I left for very many years, and I used to come back on and off. But it is growing. I think they didn't set up the city the same. Charlotte is great, but sometimes street parking is not what it should be. And
Yeah,
I just
but Cameron, you were gonna say something early.
Okay.
Earlier, and I cut you off. Do you remember what it was?
Cameron or me?
Cameron was.
No, I mean it was more. It's just we've already passed that. We've already passed that.
Okay.
But
Okay, we gotta get
I
ready to
appreciate.
roll.
We gotta get
we gotta get ready to roll.
transform
But
and roll out.
yeah, because
Okay,
I
okay.
gotta get my kid to school. We got meetings, all that.
I got
Okay.
meetings. I got I woke up
Hey.
to the emails like, "Hey, we want to move the contract twice." I was like, "Look at
Oh,
God!
yeah,
Look at
congratulations.
God!" So but as a lot of entrepreneurs do, let me get this joint signed.
Right.
Yeah.
Get the
Yeah,
invoice.
get
Let me
it
get it
signed first.
invoiced. So let me go
Right.
get the sequencing.
Absolutely.
You
I love
said
that.
something important. Your contract's coming through, and it's April. I'm going to say again, I am doing these free webinars, and I'm tithing them for the first 6 months of the year. By May, everyone needs to have their business set up in SAM.
Okay, I'm doing
By
it.
May, because remember, the fiscal year ends September 30th, and you're going to have that use it or lose it money. They're going to start reviewing their budgets June and July. So toward the end of the summer, July, they're going to start coming out with one-time contracts. So it's a good way to step your foot into government contracting. You'll have a couple of months. It won't be a recurring contract. It'll usually be a one-time contract, but it's a good way to just kind of put your foot in, see if you like it, see how long it takes you to get paid, see if that's something you can add into your budget, all those kind of things. So everybody needs to be set up in SAM.gov by May, because like Omi said, it is going to take you need to wait for them to tell you whatever errors they did, whatever paperwork they lost, all that stuff, so that you are set up so that in June, July, you can start applying for those use it or lose it.
And do you have like a paid cohort to share that, or any free things to tell people how to do that?
Free. You can just go to my Instagram. I'm doing them free every month. The next one is going to be the second week of April, I believe April 10th or 12th. It's on a Monday.
All right, you got 2 DMs for me then, because I'm
okay. Okay. Oh my
'Cause I'm
gosh!
trying to do this.
It's April 13th. I said through 12th. It's April 13th.
Me, can you text me everything where people can join, because we can listen in our newsletter?
Okay. Oh yeah. Yes. I'll send it all to you. It is absolutely free. Get it, do it, apply, start the process, and then join the next free one in May so that you can see what you missed or what so join in April, join in May. Both of them will be free. That's my tithing for the first 6 months of the year.
Okay, so I need to get my I need to go ahead and get this LLC, this extra LLC established. Go ahead and get inside of SAM.gov.
Yes.
Okay. I got it. I'm doing it.
Yes. And at minimum, register as a small business with the SBA at minimum, because that's one set aside. And then search the set aside, search the small business set asides. There'll be a lot more in those months. So government contracting is on a cycle, but you made me think of it because this time of year is when the recurring contracts, the bigger contracts, are usually out at the beginning of the year because they plan for it differently. The middle of the year toward the end of the year is like, okay, if we don't spend this money, then our budget is going to be smaller next year. So we're going to spend it on something.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, cool beans. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you. Have a good rest
Bye.
of your
You
day.
guys have a great day.
You too. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for the 30-day show. This is day 20.
Day 20. Ooh,
day 20.
2/3.
That's it. Day 20. We appreciate y'all. We'll be here tomorrow morning, rocking and rolling. Yeah. At the end of the show.
At the end of the day, at the end of the show.
The show going in. All right, y'all have a good rest of your day. We got to get out of here.
See you tomorrow.